Now I can hardly read. Maybe I can do this. Hey folks, Deacon Nick here, and what I wanted to share with you today is the introduction to a book that I'm writing. And I started writing actually on Christmas Day of the end of last year. And the introduction will explain most of this, but the title and why I'm doing it, but the title is going to be some variation of Forever is a Long Time. And so it might be something then Forever is a Long Time, or it'll probably be Forever is a Long Time with some subtitle or something like that. And the reason I came up with Forever is a Long Time is it's actually based off of I almost said the Pareto principle, which I think is the 80-20 rule, right? But it's actually based off of what's known as Pascal's wager. And if you know who Blaise Pascal is, I'm not sure when he lived. He was an astronomer or a scientist or something like that. But what Pascal's wager basically is, and it's something he said that is, what if you live your whole life not believing in a God? What if you live the whole life just pushing God out of your life, and then a second after you die, you find out that God is real and you're not with him? That's what he calls, why it's called Pascal's wager. You're betting eternity against the fact that there's a God. So the book is about reasons to believe in God. Some die-hard facts about Jesus Christ that show us that, yes, he did die, he did rise from the dead, he is God. Some things about, well, lots of different things, right? And I'll leave you read the book, and I'll post my table of contents someday when I have a table of contents. But like I said, I just want to read you the introduction. Here we go. I didn't sit down and write this book over the course of a few months' time. In fact, my mission was to write a page a day for a year from Christmas to Christmas. I started on Christmas Day in the infamous year of 2020, and I finished, or will finish, am finishing, on Christmas Day of 2021. But why? Now I can hardly read. Maybe I can do this. I'll answer using a quote from Joliet Jake and his brother Elwood Blues. Me and the Lord, we got an understanding. We're on a mission from God. Now I have to take those off. I didn't think about that when I thought that would be cute. Yeah, let's put the Jake glasses on. Anyway, I too believe that I am on a mission from God. But instead of something simple like putting the band back together, my mission is to explain in plain and easy to understand words why you should believe in God. Yahweh, Emmanuel, Yeshua, the Word, Jesus Christ, Adonai, the Alpha, the Omega. If I climb to the roof of my house in the winter when there's no leaves on the trees, I can see the water tower at the Joliet prison where some of the movie The Blues Brothers was filmed. I know it's not normal for a grown man to sit on his roof, but when my daughters were young, we used to climb up there on the 4th of July, toss down a blanket, and watch fireworks explaining in all directions. All three of my girls would probably agree that a lot of what I do is far from normal anyways. I was up there again yesterday fixing where a shifty raccoon pushed our soffit up, and away and had a slumber party in our attic. More about that later. I wish I could win over the unbelievers by simply stating the obvious. If Jake and Elwood Blues believe in God, he has to be real. For many of us who have faith in the presence of a living God in our lives, the Blues Brothers are enough. For others, it'll probably take a little more convincing. But come on, it's Jake and Elwood. Why did I decide to be the guy to do the convincing? It was the morning of December 23rd, and I was laying awake in bed. I was just about to get up and get my day going when my wife ran into the bathroom. Now I gotta wait, right? That's not in the book, but now I gotta wait, right? I heard the shower turn on. The water ran for 40 or 50 seconds and shut off. Wasn't even long enough to get hot, I thought. Another minute or two passed, and my wife, Madonna, not that Madonna, but a better one, appeared in the hallway with the message that caused my heart to sink. Mom had a stroke. I'm leaving. She was out of the house almost as fast as I can get up and tossed some sweatpants on. Her mom, called Grandma, both because she's the mother of my daughter's mother and also because she introduces herself to strangers that way, was on the way to the emergency room. She'd been found by her next-door neighbor, Grandma B. She was lying on the floor just inside her front door, conscious but confused. For reference sake, we don't call her Grandma B because the other grandma is Grandma A, by the way. She just happened to marry a man whose last name started with the letter B. For clarity, let's call my mother-in-law Grandma O. So when asked what she was doing on the floor, Grandma O responded with, I'm playing with my grandkids, which at another time might make sense, but at the time her grandkids were all grown adults and none were present, much less nearby sharing her foyer floor. With the exception of a handful of conditions and some other non-life-threatening issues, Grandma's in decent shape for her age. We lost Gramps, my wife's dad and Grandma's husband of decades, several years earlier, so she lived alone. But a stroke? I was scared. I lost both of my parents to cancer before I was in college, so in many ways, Grandma and Gramps had become my second set of parents. They grew to be much dearer to me than just in-laws, so when I found out that she was discovered laying in her hallway for what was believed most of the night, I feared the worst. That night, around 1:30 a.m., I'm a night owl. Before I went to bed, I picked up a rosary and, standing in the light of the glowing Christmas tree, started to pray for Graham's recovery. As I prayed, I started to rock side to side somewhat, and while I was not in a trance or meditating, I was something different. I felt myself in a unique state of mind I'd never experienced. I was there, yet I was not. It's hard to explain, but it was definitely different. In that altered state, no chemicals involved. I gave them up years ago, I promise. The mission came to me. I should write a book. I should write a page a day from Christmas Day to Christmas Day. It should tell people how I know God is real. It needs to be written so anyone can understand it. This is not in the introduction, but so many books about faith and about the Lord are just they're written by I almost said theologists, but they're written by theologians and so hard to understand. So I read so many of these during my diaconate formation that I was like, what? I want to make it really simple. Anyway, back to the book. I finished my prayer and headed back to my office to write down my thoughts, which alone is strange for me because I'm not one to journal, but I knew this was different. I paused in front of a needlepoint image of Mary, Jesus' mom, Mary, hanging just outside my office door. And I said, do I want to commit to hundreds of hours of writing every day for a year? Heck no. Do I believe in my heart and mind that God is really calling me to do this? Yeah, I did. Darn it. So I made the commitment, and here we are. By the way, Grandma's doing fine. She did have a couple little blood clots, which they did surgery for, and Grandma's doing fine, by the way. But that's the introduction. And so far I'm 66 words short of 31,000 words. And it's really coming along. And I hope when it comes out that you'll be one of the first folks to grab a copy. So that's it. I'm Deacon Nick. I just wanted to share that with you. See you next time. Bye-bye.